Okay. My friend Lugio, who I've never met, I want to meet him in Egypt. I really want to meet him. He said again, this currency is such a pain, and then now I'm believing him. I didn't before. You know, if everybody's in the Eurozone or something like that, oh, we don't have to change anything anymore now. The next thing that we're going to change and look at, and before we do this, let's look at the summary just for a minute. By the way, I'm copying all these files. If you ever want a disk sent to me, just call me. You know, sometimes those Google Drives, somebody, a very nice person from Mauritius, where I really want to go, she said, "Oh, no, you know, it doesn't really work with that Google Drive very well." So, and I've tried to zip up the files. Now, if we change this, let's have a devaluation, real devaluation. Look at the dramatic effect it had on kind of the IRRs. If there's no real devaluation, we can change the currency all we want, but it's this devaluation, and if we have appreciation, and I'm always looking at this return up here. Now this might be too high a return, we can put the low case in, and this is a little circular reference. I don't know what the right philosophy on this in this case. Maybe copy and paste is okay. So we still have this high of an IRR in the low case. What the hell's going on there? Do I have maybe I should put a lower feed-in tariff here, but that's getting pretty low. Maybe a higher EPC cost or something like that. We could attach this silly circular thing to every single time we do that, but that's getting to be a nice low price because that's good. That's what you really want. Here's the normal index now. Why is the foreign local inflation rate? Let's make the local inflation rate a little bit higher. Then we get a higher local one. Now, if we instead had a devaluation, then our IRR really gets killed. So it really is what Lugio said. It's really important to understand that it's this real thing that happens. If we just change the inflation rates, okay, it's having a little effect. All right, but not much. It's this thing that goes against the PPP thing that's killing you, and we have to study all this a lot more. Okay, why don't I leave this one in? Oh God, okay, yeah, let's leave that one in, and or we can put a mixed devaluation in, I guess. Okay, so we got to understand really what our exposure is. What a brilliant, it was a really, really good point that was made. Now the next thing we're going to do is work on the taxes. And here's what we're going to show. We're going to show on the taxes that the taxes are going to be in local currency if I probably already said that, if the tax, I think I said it in the thing I deleted. In the 1970s, all the companies were moaning about depreciation being on book value, and your book value suddenly got worthless. There was 20% inflation. Suddenly, the amount you spend is worth 80% of it, and you don't get to increase your depreciation as your assets have a higher nominal value and a lower real value. Whatever, I hope you Get the idea. Now, so depreciation is normally based on the original cost. It doesn't go up with inflation. And if it doesn't go up with inflation, and there's a local, there's a inflation in the local currency, but more than the foreign currency, you can have a loss. So we put this in. We put our depreciation life and our income tax rate. And when we put all of that in, then we do our plant balance based on the here's the foreign currency. And first, just don't put any of these development fees crap. Not crap, it's very important to those people who are making a lot of money on development fees. Or just put all the money you really pay out. Let's just start with that. So this is all our expenditures, and then our EPC costs and all that. This is the real money we pay out. That's what we're going to depreciate. We'll put the depreciation on IDC and everything else just a little bit later. I want to keep that pure so we really understand the IRR, the project after tax IRR here. Okay, so we take this depreciation, we get all our plant, and eventually this is the amount in Egyptian pounds. Okay, and you know, this is when we just a minute. Why didn't I take depreciation in that first year? Depreciation expense is the minimum. Well, I should have. The net plant is kind of stupid. The net plant is the closing balance of the plant minus the accumulated depreciation. So that should go up. And if we've done everything okay, that net plant better go to zero by the end. Okay, and I'm not going to put a retirement of the asset in at the end. And then remember, a depreciation expense, you take the minimum of the net plant, so you never ever take more depreciation than the net plant, and we get it here. And if we do a little bit of a sum on our depreciation and look down here, our sum of 488 is the same thing. Now, when we take our depreciation and put it in foreign currency, we just take this. Let's just make sure I didn't do something really stupid. We take this depreciation in the local currency and divide by our famous final exchange rate. And I think it might be worth illustrating this. So I press Shift Control plus a couple of times, and I'll put total depreciation. And let's put that in the foreign currency. Okay, where's our foreign currency? Okay, and when we do that, why don't I put a sum of it here? You know, if you wanted to be lazy, you do this because we have nothing in that column. I cannot press Shift Control D, unfortunately, so I'm going to just take my time and do this. But this, if we take this total depreciation, and then let's put sum of capex, and we'll take and do that in USD too. Sorry about that, kind of wasting your time a little bit, but the sum of that, the capex that we're taking, and we're just taking these pure capex. I call these capital expenditure outlays, I hope. Yes, that one. And notice that it's not the same. And the reason it's not the same is because the value of this depreciation declines over time as the currency depreciates. when we take an Egyptian pound that's in a flat kind of depreciation, that's giving us less and yet less USD if the inflation in Egyptian pounds is the same. So that's why we have to make we've got a loss. We've got our depreciation is going to cover a reducing amount. So what we need to do to balance this all out now, hopefully after I'm finished with it, we can talk about how the loss on the currency, the loss on this, I hope the accumulated loss on the currency will be the same as this difference in depreciation. So this is, let's put a difference here. Okay, this minus this. I'm not gonna, okay. And now what we do here is if we take, here is the net plant we have, okay? That's in Egyptian pounds. And in the very first time, when we take a valuation of that, so we have, this is our foreign currency, okay, USD. And then in the very first period, we started with nothing. We spent this much in USD. That's the amount we spent in USD. Just a minute, up here somewhere. That's the amount we spent. Oh, well, whatever. You get it. I'm not going to find it, okay? And this is the amount. Oh, there it is. It was right here anyway. Okay, and now, come on, I shouldn't sigh that much, I know. Okay, and then we have no difference. We can take, if we take this number times the exchange rate, we get exactly the same number. But when you go to the second value, there's a difference. And the difference is because this lost value. So we have to have a loss here. Now this loss, so what I did here is just take this number multiplied by, go up to the exchange rate here. That's that number. Now if we take the amount we translated minus the closing balance, we get a difference. Is that, did I do right? I think I did that right. No. Yes, I did. Okay. Now, to get that difference, we could just take the opening balance here. Whoops. I didn't mean to press that, excuse me. The opening balance times the exchange rate, and take the opening balance times the G30, which is the last exchange rate. This is the current exchange rate, H30. This is the last one. And we put a loss. So if we put a minus on this one, then, whoops, sorry, that's in Egyptian pounds. We need to get that loss in stated in USD. So we take this number divided by the current exchange rate. Let's try this one. And we put that as a minus. Okay, and then we get exactly the same difference. Do you see that? Then we get the exact same amount. So to figure out how much loss we have, we could, it's probably easier than this, but we'll take this number times the last year's exchange rate minus this period's exchange rate and divide it by this period's exchange rate. Okay, that gives us our same number. That's our loss on our currency. Okay, and then we press Shift Control R, and hopefully I have the same thing over here, and you notice that it's always coming out to be the same balance. Okay, now, would you mind, I'm going to put this in Egyptian pounds, so we get it right. And what I'm really doing, I shouldn't admit this, kind of wasting time as we, so we want to make sure that, this loss we have eventually, hang on, why is it going down? This is the loss in each period. It's just because of the inflation. Okay, and we don't want to take this loss after the life is finished. You know what? I have to do this right now. Can we just make sure let's just go all the way down. Oh, come on, hurry up. We're gonna take this whole thing and just make a little bit of a, okay, come on, okay, and let's make a conditional format, and on that conditional format, let's make a new rule, use a formula, and on this go always up to the top left. Use the mouse so you don't screw up the thing. I don't know how to do this. Hello, Usman. Good. I'm glad you said hello. And we'll just put, when this one is true, yes. I'm not embarrassed to say that. And what in the hell is going on here? Now, that's okay, I guess. Where was I? Where did our little thing go? Okay, well, let's do it again. Home key. Oh, there it is. What happened to that? F4. Just keep it on the same row, equal true. Let's format it as a really light color so we can kind of see what happens now. I want to see what I don't will this amount we lose, I don't think it's going to be equal to the depreciation because we have this loss earlier than the depreciation, but we'll kind of check. Did I not? Yes, we have a little bit of a different color. Do you see that one? It's not that big of a different color, but it's good enough, I think. So let's see if our depreciation equals the difference in our depreciation equals the loss we take over the life. Okay, so just a minute. Okay, I don't know how Usman found out I'm going to Pakistan. Maybe he's working for the CIA or something like that. Where was I? Okay, the depreciation. We should have done this with net plant instead of gross plant. And then we take this depreciation. I've never done this before, but it's kind of cool. Here's our depreciation we take away. Now that depreciation, that's what I said. It gets lower and lower in value. And that's kind of almost offset by this loss we take. So that I said, let's add this. Now I added a negative. I was not consistent in my positive number convention. But the cool thing is that when you do this, the value goes to 0. And when you take this total loss, see that 22,500 561 of loss, that's just the same as that amount by which the depreciation doesn't work. Why didn't we have a difference here? I'm going to kind of leave that out. That happened. Oh, that's because of the net plant, because of the depreciation. Let's take that away. Okay. So when we go to our income statement, now I think this would be recorded as kind of other comprehensive income. It really doesn't affect the income statement, but somehow, somewhere down here, let's put an what do I have here? Okay, the operating expenses are wrong. It should be the operating expenses in the foreign currency. Okay, and we have some, I don't know, I suppose this somehow would be capitalized, but let's put losses on currency translation, and we'll put it as a plant. Okay, now I haven't even thought about whether we should somehow capitalize this and depreciate it, which would be kind of irrelevant because I don't think we want to mess up all of our depreciation so we can take the EBITDA minus the taxes minus or I guess this is plus because we have a loss. Of course, totally inconsistent, which is really bad. But now, when we put together our balance sheet, hopefully it'll all work. And on our balance sheet, which I kind of haven't, the net plant. This is not in euros anymore. What's all this stuff doing? Okay, this net plant is going to be, if we do if we do a balance sheet in the foreign currency, we better take the net plant that already has that loss taken out of it. So I wonder if I can try to review this. Okay. The problem here is I hate this, and we're going to have to do something similar to this with here we are with the debt. We have to decide what currency is the debt, and depending on if it's in a different currency, like the depreciation was in a different currency, then we'd have to make this adjustment. If depreciation was in USD, then when we put our balance together in Egyptian pounds, we would have to make that adjustment. I'm sure you did not watch my video on financial statement analysis, but there was a Samsung financial statement, and they had one financial statement in gazillions of won, and one in USD, millions or billions or whatever. One is just God knows how many gazillions it is. But they would have to make a translation adjustment depending on kind of where they compute the depreciation, going back and forth. Okay? So whenever we have a balance sheet item, an opening or closing balance, whenever there is an opening and closing balance, and there will be three. There'll be an opening and closing balance for the debt, and there'll be an opening balance and closing balance for the debt service reserve account, DSRA, debt service reserve account. And for that debt service reserve account, both of these we're going to have to decide if they're USD or or Egyptian pounds, and we're going to have to make some adjustments. Now I'm going to have to do, I think, just a little bit of work on this one. Okay, and let's delete that. But at least we kind of have depreciation done. And then we're going to have to go through and make another currency adjustment, perhaps, perhaps not, depending on, if it's in USD and we want the profit and loss statement in USD, then we just make the currency adjustment when we put it in Egyptian pounds. You see the kind of vice versa kind of thing we have to do. Okay, so that's part. What are we on? 25 minutes already. Let's call this